Okay, let's dive in. So you sent over some sources on a topic that's, well, really got me thinking. Windows 11 actually running on Chromebooks.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It kind of blurs those lines we always assumed were there between operating systems, doesn't it?
Totally. You know, Chrome OS for simplicity, Windows for, well, everything else sometimes. It felt like a hard boundary.
Exactly. But
Okay.
these materials suggest maybe it's becoming a bit more fluid.
Right. So our goal here is to really unpack what your sources are telling us. Is this just a cool tech trick, or could it be something more like the future?
And who is it really for? What are the upsides and what are the catches the sources point out?
Okay, so let's start right there. According to the sources, what is this fundamentally? How do they describe running Windows on a Chromebook?
Well, it's not about wiping Chrome OS. The key idea seems to be running both, kind of side by side, or at least easily switchable on the same machine.
So you can flip between them. That's the core concept.
Yeah, seamless switching is what they emphasize, not like, restarting your computer every time. It's more about giving you access to all those Windows apps people sometimes miss.
Right. Alongside the Chrome OS stuff you might prefer for other tasks, getting rid of that either problem.
Precisely. And that leads straight into the benefits the sources highlight. Increased productivity is a big one.
Makes sense if you need that one Windows program but love your Chromebook.
Exactly. You're not stuck anymore. You can use both ecosystems, that specific piece of software. You can run it. That
Mhm.
seems, well, pretty significant for some people.
And flexibility, just being able to choose the right OS for the moment.
That's definitely presented as a major plus.
Yeah.
What else did they mention?
Interestingly, gaming came up. Now, obviously, it's not turning a basic Chromebook into a powerhouse.
Right. But the sources suggest you might get better gaming performance than standard Chrome OS, accessing Windows games. So potentially a perk for some users.
Okay, so productivity, flexibility, maybe even some gaming boost. Sounds pretty good. But there have to be downsides, right? What did the sources warn about?
Oh, definitely. Performance and compatibility were the main flags raised.
Yeah.
Windows 11, well, it needs resources.
And Chromebooks are often built for lightness, not heavy lifting.
Exactly. So the sources caution that Windows might feel sluggish, slower than on a native Windows machine, especially with typical Chromebook CPUs or storage.
So a potential performance hit. What about compatibility? Does everything just work?
No, that's another key point. The materials are clear. Don't expect every Windows app to run perfectly. Older stuff, maybe some specialized software, you might hit glitches.
Okay. And I guess running Windows takes a toll on the battery.
Yep, that was mentioned consistently too. Running Windows, even alongside Chrome OS, seems to drain the battery faster. That's a trade-off.
Sure, that makes sense. So we have these clear benefits, but also these pretty significant drawbacks. Who did the sources say this is actually for?
They seem to pinpoint a few groups. People who genuinely need apps from both worlds. That specific Windows work app, plus the web stuff on Chrome OS.
Okay, the need both crowd.
Right. Then the gamers we talked about, looking for that performance edge over standard Chrome OS gaming. And finally, just users who really value that flexibility, that ability to switch, even if it means, say, shorter battery life.
So it's definitely not positioned as something for every Chromebook user, more like specific niches.
Yeah, that seems to be the takeaway. It solves particular problems for particular people.
Which brings us to the big question your sources sort of leave hanging, doesn't it? Given this target audience, given the technical hurdles, is this blend really the future for everyone?
Or is it going to stay a powerful tool, but, for a smaller group?
Yeah, is it mainstream bound or a niche solution?
It definitely marks a technical step forward. The sources acknowledge that, but its current appeal seems quite targeted.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, your sources show Windows 11 on Chromebooks trying to merge Windows power with the Chromebook style.
Offering real benefits, like more apps and flexibility for certain folks, maybe even better gaming.
But bumping up against challenges. Performance on typical hardware, apps not always working perfectly, and that battery life issue.
Right. And the final thought these sources really push you towards is considering who benefits most right now and the technical balancing act involved.
Will this merging become the standard way we think about laptops? Or will it remain a specialist option?
And what does that signal to manufacturers? Where should they put their resources? It definitely gives you something new to think about when you look at these devices.